allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Does anybody else think at the end of that you should say amen? Like just, whatever. Call the meeting to order. Roll call. Everybody is here except Sandy. She is on her way, and Kirsten is here by telephone. Where are you?
I'm in La Crosse.
Ah, okay. Public comment. Here we go. Sandy's coming. There apparently is no buddy that want to talk. Is there approval of the minutes?
So moved.
We have to take two separate votes. The regular board meeting, March 10th, 2015. Motion, is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The March 24th, 2015 expulsion hearing, same, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Communications.
Steve, before we go there, can we back up to the approval of the agenda? I don't know if we, don't remember if we did that or not, but I do want to point out two changes to the agenda. 8A, 7A, we're adding 345.1 grading system high school. That was part of our policy committee meeting last night. We recognized that that needed to be changed with some of the other changes we made. And then Roman numeral 10, B6, we have a resignation from half-time teacher Cindy Ormson at the middle school, adding those to the agenda. So could we have a motion?
Where's
This approval of the agenda, Roman numeral 4. Way up there.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda with the added changes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Then we're thank you notes, is that, are we together?
Communications.
Okay. Under thank you notes, we have 3 thank you notes from families of, from the recently deceased, and the board sends donations to the High School Scholarship Foundation in their name, and those families have sent a thank you note to the board for that. American Heart Association sent a thank you to Polly Bigler and Lisa Ash, 2 of our Phi Ed teachers, one from the Chain, one from the Learning Center, for projects that they did in an effort to raise money for the American Heart Association. Under recognition, Ms. Molly Duray and Ms. Tricia Duman, 2 of our teachers, elementary and middle school, combined to write an essay for the fire and burn prevention contest, and they won $1,500 for there to be spent in their classroom. I don't know if it was last year they won this as well, but they have won it before.
I think it's 3 years in a row.
It is 3 years.
Three years in a row, so good for them. They'll find a good use for that money. Waupaca High School Academic Bowl, our team were conference champions. Congratulations to them. There was a nice article in the newspaper. We had someone, actually the daughter of a teacher who was in our building as part of a, it's not student teaching, but
It was Valerie Sharansky's daughter.
Val Saransky's daughter, and she was doing an asthma prevention exercise in our schools. She sent a couple letters of thank you for allowing us to do that, and in the letters she also indicated to the best schools she's seen in terms of the prevention that our staff takes to help kids who are suffering from asthma from suffering even more. So that was good to hear. The Wisconsin State Farmer had an article in their news publication about our Waupaca's FFA program, very complimentary. And then Asher Wright, a student at Waupaca Middle School, was our Region 2 spelling winner, and they're picture of him. So congratulations to Asher.
School board.
Okay, the first item on the agenda is a private school boundary change, and before we get to that, I would like to introduce Mr. Jeff Miller, the principal from St. Peter in Waupaca. And I had a letter in the packet. It was, as you know, 2 years ago, Emmanuel Lutheran closed in Waupaca. We had several students from Emmanuel then enroll at St. Peter. The statutory deadline for doing a boundary change had already passed when this was visited last year. So there was no transportation provided the current school year for some students from Waupaca to go to St. Peter. They requested again this year. Part of the process is that their school board or their board trustees has to pass a boundary change showing that the boundary for their school extends into our boundaries and it does not interfere with any other boundaries from parochial schools in the other direction. So they did that or going to do that. They've at least
They did that last night.
They did, okay, great. So the map is included. I can show you how that works. Statute says that we shall transport any students who are attending a parochial school within 5 miles of the boundary of our school district. So St. Peter in Waupaca is about 2.3 miles.
A little over 3.
A little over 3 miles, so they're within that 5 mile. So we will be transporting. I know Lee Nowicki and Mr. Miller have already cross-checked calendars and are working on solutions for situations where we might have an early dismissal, or we may have school, they don't have school, or they have school and we don't. There aren't a whole lot of those conflicts, I don't think, and I know Mr. Miller's been very cooperative in suggesting that their parents would transport on those days where we're not necessarily transported. So what we have to do is approve their boundary change. I had to look at it and verify with Mr. Miller that it didn't conflict with surrounding, as far as we can tell, everything's good to go. There are about 36, 39 students?
34.
34.
I put 36 in the letter, but I double checked it, it's 34.
Okay. Students, Waupaca students living in our Waupaca school district who are attending school at St. Peter. We don't believe that all 34 of those students will be requiring transportation just because of the time from traveling from one end of the district. And our plan, I think, is to bring them all to the Learning Center and then have one bus go from Learning Center to St. Peter's. So we've got some work coordination to do with the start of the school day, the end of the school day, and things like that. But so far, seems like it'll work out.
Mr. Miller is going to be the driver from the bus?
Mechanic, driver.
Yeah, okay.
I could put that hat on.
So do you have any comments or?
Just, I appreciate you taking a look at this and considering this. It would be really beneficial for our parents who live here in the Waupaca School District. And we do have, like I said, quite a few 30-plus students currently this year that if they return to our school next year, could possibly make use of the busing. I've spoken with some parents already, are excited about that possibility, because right now, we have one family that the children stay till almost 5 o'clock, and that's because Dad can't get them, and Mom works over in Amherst, and she doesn't get off until late, and so it would be really beneficial for them, but others as well, to have that opportunity to take the bus.
A couple of questions. First of all, the map, Dave, is that just basically our school district?
Yeah, all except for the bottom part of it. I think it travels our borders except for that, you see where the purple line goes down? That is our school district as well, and their map does not encroach upon that.
And the reason for that would be what?
Is that the western boundary?
Yes.
The reason for that is just because of the distance away from us, and I didn't, we don't have anybody in that area, and I really didn't want to force it on, in this district that we're gonna have to take your entire district. I just thought it would be good to just stop the Waupaca County line instead of going further into Portage County. I just didn't think it was necessary at this time to do that.
And my other question was, I think in reading the letter that you're 3K through 8,
Yes.
okay? Can you just kind of give us an idea of how those kids happen to be, those students, the present ones you're talking about, the 34, how they're split? I mean, are more younger, are there more in the A7, or is it pretty much throughout?
It's pretty much K through 8. There's, I think, one right now, 4K, that's living in the Waupaca School District. But otherwise, it's all K to 8. You mean as far as you want that split up as well?
No, I was just curious as to whether there was a large group of 7th and 8th graders, for instance, as opposed to the real young. Just curious how that was split up. But, I thought maybe you might have had it right there.
It's, I think it's pretty much a mix from K to 8. I don't have it according to grade level, I have it according to the homes and the addresses, but there's probably a good 8 that are maybe 7th and 8th grade, 6th to 8th grade.
Okay. And my final question for you, Dave, would be, is this going to be then quote-unquote permanent, or is this an annual?
It's permanent. In order to do, they had to establish boundaries in order to get this ball rolling. Once they've established their boundaries, they exist. And this would be an annual ongoing exercise.
Can I ask you something quick? You have 3K
Yes.
over there? Is that, how do you operate that? Half days or?
We have 2.5 hours throughout the week in the mornings.
Okay.
Tuesdays, or on Mondays and Wednesdays.
And it's also like a kindergarten curriculum, or is it more just a preschool kind of?
It's a preschool.
Okay.
We're trying to get the students for socializing and getting used to working with other students and also getting into the school setting. But they do, start to learn some colors and recognition of their names and being able to start writing them a little bit, but and sharing God's word with them every day as well.
Any other questions?
Can you tell us just a little bit about your school, how many students you might have?
We have
Where you draw from?
4K through, 3K through 8th grade, we have 123. It's 115 in 4K to 8. We draw from, obviously here, Waupaca School District, Waupaca Fremont School District, in the southern part of the area. That's about it.
So you don't have any other school districts you go into to provide
No.
transportation like this? That's why we go to Waupaca.
Right, and we can't, because, where we're situated, we're close enough to this boundary, Waupaca boundary, that we can, ask for these attendance boundaries to be established in the district. Any other school district, we're just too far away from.
It's right beyond the 5 miles from.
Right,
Right.
and we don't have any children anyway from this district.
Question. When the 8th graders go on to high school, where do they go?
Well, they would go here because
Here.
of their residence,
Okay.
unless they were to open enroll to another district, but it's their residency that determines their school district.
Is that what usually happens?
I
Few
think
were
so.
Fox Valley Lutheran.
Yeah, there's,
Oh,
correct. There's some that go to Fox Valley Lutheran High School, and
Okay.
then some obviously Waupaca Fremont, and some here.
Okay.
So,
And just one more follow-up on that. Have your numbers changed much? I mean, you said we were 127, did you say?
120, yes.
130. Has that been pretty constant, say, in the last 5 years, or is that, I know Emmanuel closed, so maybe that made a little bump, but I mean, other than that, has it been pretty,
It's been fairly steady, yes. But when Emmanuel closed, we probably received about close to almost 20 students from them or related to them. Some of the students might have been there at one time and then had moved on and then came back to us. They are not all members of the church. Some of them were tuition students as well. So we did take, last year, we had a bit of a bump that we received from them.
Okay.
We need a motion to approve the boundary.
Is there a motion to approve the boundary?
So moved. Second.
Is this roll call or just
What did I tell you? No, voice vote would be fine.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay.
Again, I want to thank you for that. It really is, we appreciate that, and I know the parents are going to be very appreciative as well. And anything that we can do, and, speaking with Dr. Peschel and Mr. Nowicki, it's been great working with you and trying to get this established, and I'm looking forward to that relationship going forward. And if there's ever anything you need, let me know.
Will do.
And you understand it was a close vote.
Right, and I know I have to get my bus driver's license.
The other part of the deal is that you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting.
Thank you.
No, wait a minute. He might love.
Tried to get him on early so he could be in and out. I'm sure he's got other things to do as well. So thanks for.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Quit claim deed. You may remember several years ago, we had an incident, an issue like this where someone was trying to sell property, but there was a claim on that property by the school district for a school that used to exist there many, many years ago. This is in Portage County, and it's the, whose property that's selling it?
James, Grant, and Mary Grant.
James and Mary Grant property. So there must have been a school there at one time, so we have to clear that up in order for the sale to
Yeah.
take place.
So,
And-
sorry, are you looking for simply a vote on whether or not this should go, a
Approve.
motion to just
Yeah.
approve it? All right, I'll make a motion that we approve the quick claim deed for the Grant property. Would that be appropriate?
In Portage County.
In Portage.
Yeah. And we'll do a roll call on that. Connie Baldwin?
Yes.
Kirsten Greenfield?
Yes.
Stephen Johnson?
Yes.
Sandy Robinson?
Yes.
Patrick Fair?
Yes.
Betty Mannion?
Yes.
And Steve Shambo?
Yes. What this is they're, they apparently think that there might be, back in the many, many years ago, there is something wrong with the title. And they were concerned that there might be something that Waupaca School District has, and one of the old-time the country schools. And this is just clearing up the title so that there's no claims against the title. And that's what it is. Kirsten, you've got to come into the office and you have to sign as the clerk, okay?
Okay.
Thanks.
What we could do, you could appoint someone clerk in the absence of Kirsten, and we could get it done tonight to save. Or is her name on it? Typed on it? Okay, then we'll just do that.
Okay. I signed.
All right.
Good.
And does that require an order? It does.
Yeah.
So do you want to hold this at your office? She can come into your office?
Yeah, she can do that.
Is that okay, Kirsten?
That's fine. I can come in on Thursday. Is that soon enough?
That's fine.
Yep.
Okay.
They've waited 80 years to do this.
Very good.
You know.
You called John Hart.
Next item is the discussion on a joint meeting request from the city of Waupaca. I sent out the email asking for just surveying what people thought. If you remember, the topic came up a couple meetings ago, and the question was, well, what would the agenda look like? I shared the agenda with you, and it was decided I would bring that up for further discussion.
I'll start the discussion. I don't see any anything that is to be gained by spending time with that, or with the city. We have two totally different types of organizations. We have different responsibilities, and if we in the past have needed something or they've needed something, we have always been accommodating. I just don't think that given what the city has and what their needs are and what our needs are, I don't think there's a lot to be gained. That's my look at it.
I had some thoughts also. I mean, we have other constituencies that we service, like Farmington and Dayton. And one thought I had was that that it might be worth it to go to some of their meetings if we have a need to assess, you know, what their concerns and issues might be. I guess I was a little bit concerned about just focusing on Waupaca. And then I also thought, in terms of my own time, there are some governmental agencies that I'd be really probably more interested in meeting with. I talked about meeting with some of our legislators, even DPI, or I think there are some things with the county that might be interesting. But typically, some of the things that were on the agenda seemed appropriate for staff from both entities to be meeting about. Those were my initial thoughts.
Well, I brought this idea forward, and you know, Steve, I certainly, and Sandy too, I certainly understand your positions on both of those. You're absolutely right. There are other entities out there that we might be interested in talking to. And speaking of legislators, we've made overtures. We haven't got very far. But I think kind of goes back to, Steve, what you said, though, a little bit about that we have always been sort of accommodating when it comes to working with the city. And just to remind you that the city sort of initiated this conversation. They would like to, I think, meet with us for a number of reasons that they have going. They're doing some long-range planning, for instance. I think they're looking at how that school district and the city might work together on some things. Granted, they're off in the distance perhaps, and they're theoretical at this point in time, but I know there's some things going on there. We're entering into a new phase perhaps with our park and recreation, the cities and the school district summer school programs. They're going to do some meshing together. And granted, they're working with the staff right now, but it might be nice for all of us to hear some of that and where we're going with that. And then there's always property situations, buildings, facilities that are, each entity owns, and whether we come across, and granted, we don't need to do anything with that in the near or in the immediate future, but maybe knowing where the city's going and for them to see where we're going with some of our properties or buildings or things might be advantageous. I mean, that's sort of what I got from them. Now, if we don't meet with them, there's certainly no harm done.
I mean, if there is, in my opinion, if there's something that the city, since I've been on the board, if they needed something, they call Dave, they call us, and vice versa. But I just don't see us spending a whole bunch of time trying to discuss something that we can do together. I mean, it's two different entities.
When did we do it in the past? And under what premise?
There were two times I recall, and the first was when we dealt with the property division. Remember Havercorn Field, the garage over there that used to be our garage, we swapped properties, and it included the property between what was then the middle school / learning center and the high school, that ball field in between tennis courts. So we had a big exchange of property there just to clean some things up. And then I think second time was Probably, was that separate for the gym, the Hendrickson Center? Who did that sale?
It wasn't under board monitoring?
I don't know that, Betty. I know you said that before, and that it's, part of me says that that was something, what we wanted to, what we were doing was reaching out to the different, our different publics, and the city, and I believe the town boards were part of that invitation as well, along with senior citizens, students, parents, et cetera. So they were one prong of that approach.
And did we meet with them?
Yes.
I think we
went to
did.
their-
Way long, 11 years ago maybe?
As part of that, you mean?
I think so. What did we call
We
that?
did.
Those,
It was a
Linkage
retreat.
meetings.
Linkage meetings,
Linkage.
yeah.
We were linking with the public.
yeah, it seems to me I remember.
That we went
Matt,
to
were you
their-
on? You weren't on back then, right?
Well, was I on the city council at that
Yeah.
time? When I was on the city council, I know we met with the school board at least one time, and I can't remember just, you know, again, that's going back a ways. I'm not quite sure how that was initiated, because I was a member of the board, but, the city, but I didn't initiate that.
I think that's probably the only time I remember that we did that.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
we
It might
linked,
have been
we
when
linked
you were
with a lot
off,
of
though.
people.
No, it might have been, weren't you off for a little bit of the school board?
1 year.
Okay. Was it, because I know it's been in the past.
10.
But
Easily, yeah, because I think I've only been on 9, so.
Is there a community development meeting tomorrow evening?
There is one tomorrow that's talking primarily, I think, it's being held at Farmer State Bank
Mhm.
at 4 o'clock, going over the long-range plan of the city as it pertains to the commercial development area, the downtown, et cetera, which is open to the public.
So was there anything specific, and sorry, I don't remember the agenda exactly. Were there some specific points that they wanted to talk to us about with future planning and make some decisions, or just kind of a,
There were no
Chat.
decision-making. If I
Okay.
remember, there were no requests for decisions.
nothing specific?
Part of it was the economic development coordinator, director, whatever.
Right, wanted to give a kind of an overview of basically the area economic development and how that may impact not just the city or the school district, but the general area for information purposes. I think they're concerned a little bit too about the facilities. I mean, I think they, as you mentioned, we did a swap with Havercorn versus, I can't even remember the other building anymore, how that all worked, but I know that was in the works then. And I'm sure they're looking at the future, wondering is there anything else that might be in the works for the future? I mean, for instance, is the school district going to stay with Havercorn Field for the next 10 years? I don't know. We haven't even brought it up, but they might be interested in talking about that.
Does that sound like something that would be more appropriate, for a building and grounds?
Well, sure it would be. I think it gets to the detail, but I think what they were looking at is kind of that long-range plan, in terms of where they're going. I know the city has been doing a lot of those meetings for the long-range, discussion, just for the sake of, planning purposes, land use planning.
Internally, over the years, we've talked with the city about the different garages that we might be able to combine, purchase a bigger garage so that everybody can hold their equipment and things like that. Wasn't there a discussion about soccer fields out by the airport?
Well, and we are doing some things this summer with the city in terms of their use of the soccer facilities. It's not going to be out at the chain, it's going to be out at the school that changed. Things like that. I mean, those are small.
But again,
items,
those are things that currently happen and work out.
I know.
Are our linkage meetings, they're part of our governance, aren't they?
Yes.
How often are we supposed to hold linkage meetings?
Well, whatever you want. but
Whatever we-
It's a good idea to hold linkage meetings.
When's the last time we held some?
It's been quite a while.
We got beat up too badly at one of those meetings. I think we decided not to hold them for a while.
Well, but
Not because, it wasn't because we got beat up. It was because the structure of the meeting didn't allow us to respond to
Right.
the criticisms that,
Yeah.
the perceptions that were out there, and the structure didn't allow us to correct those perceptions at the time, and it became frustrating. But it was the structure of the meetings more than anything.
And I think our plate was pretty full back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it could hurt at all, and I think it might help. for my 2 cents.
I
What
disagree.
if we have nothing to lose and we have everything to gain, so. that's-
Well, I know Aaron was on the short time that we had the YMCA board. Aaron, as the head of Park and Rec, was really interested in figuring out where the holes were in the community and kind of filling so that there wasn't a lot of overlap. And so I'm kind of with Betty. I don't really see the harm in it. I think it's interesting, if nothing else, to kind of see what the future holds and how we might play into that. You know, we're one of the biggest entities in town, and I'd be open to that.
Are they thinking they would invite us to one of their meetings?
Well, I
as
think
sort of a
Dave,
linkage?
they talked.
It was open either way. I mean, it was open to us. Would we like to come there? Would we like them to come here? Structured as part of our meetings, structured as a separate meeting. It was wide open.
Could we structure it as just a general linkage meeting and maybe invite someone from the Foundry, someone from the hospital? You know, the biggest employers in town.
But what do you, you know, you've got to have some goal.
Well,
And, you know, I mean, it's
each
not,
group
it's
could just-
not just a feel-good, sit-down, round table, and you need to have an agenda, and
Well,
so.
if each group would just take 10 minutes and say what their long-range plans are for the next 10 years. I mean, I would think it's more informational than,
And I think that's where, for me, the agenda fell short as to what is really the expectation of this meeting. In its brevity, I had the feeling that if they were interested in what we're doing, they can come to our meetings, they're open meetings. And if we want to see what they're doing, their meetings are open as well. And so just in the brevity of what whoever put that together as to what that agenda would be, I just really didn't get a feel of what the real goal was. Now, if we do have some specific items, again, that we want to potentially address or become informed about, that's, I think, a little bit different. And if that is some specific plan that they want to talk about, that we wouldn't necessarily get in one of their meetings or some other forum, then I would certainly be open to that. I just didn't get that feel from the communication we received.
Well, I think the initial was to just do as, you know, putting in Steve heard, a little bit of, you know, feel-good sort of thing. I think the idea was to try and just bring the boards together in the same room for a short time, for an hour, and let people, first of all, be introduced so you know who everybody is. And then secondly, you know, if there's some commonality, to spend a little time talking about some topics that might, maybe even in the future, become more of an issue with each separate board as they go the opposite direction. I think that's really all it's for. Now, if that's time that we don't want to spend to it, certainly I understand. Nothing, you know, we certainly don't need to do that. But if they were asked to come to one of our meetings and we would meet at 4:45 instead of 5:45 on a given day for an hour, and would like to just come and meet to sit and talk about a few things and introduce each other and get a little sense of a presentation, like a long-range plan that they have, maybe just to present it to us, and that would be the end of it. As Betty said, what's the harm?
Are they kind of doing this as a linkage?
I think that's
into the
part of what
community?
they would like to do.
So we did the same thing, really, and it was nice that groups were, and individuals were open to coming and talking with us.
If we were to do a linkage meeting, then I'd feel better if we had other groups involved as well, not just businesses, but if we're doing government, other local. But if they're doing the meeting, then it's their invitation and agenda.
Well, maybe we could ask, Dave, maybe we could ask you to, you know, it seems like if it's an idea that we could explore a little more, to get a little bit more specific and talk to the mayor and talk to the city administrator or wherever, and see if they got some ideas along those lines, what they would like, and then we could, you know, because there's no time frame here, maybe postpone any decision until next month if you come back with something, or send something out to us, something like that.
My concern about the agenda was there's absolutely no way we could limit ourselves to 10 minutes in some of those topics. You know, once you get discussing something, it will go on and on and on. And it was so broad that there was no discussion could go on, not getting to a point of saying yes or no. So if that's what the board wants, I'd be happy to sit down with Henry.
I know you asked for input before.
As
Would
to
you
what
like-
we would,
Yeah.
well, because I was given, in that agenda, I was given 10 minutes to tell them what we want them to know. So I was saying, okay, board, if we're gonna do this, what would you like me to tell them?
In 10 minutes.
In 10 minutes, right. So it was, and I won't ask you to do that now,
Mhm.
but in that survey, that's what I was asking, what would you like me to address?
I would like to know what they would like to talk about, because I personally, I know what they do, and we have different funding, and we have a different agenda. Ours are all kids and teachers and school board, and you know, and they've got a total different thing that they're doing. And, you know, they're trying to run a town or a city. And we're all about kids.
Well, actually, we're in the business of educating young people that go forth into the community and the world, and the state and whatever. So if we're talking about linkage, if we're talking about the bigger picture, if we're talking about long-range planning, you know how Sandy suggested that maybe it would be better to broaden it a little, and we have new owners of the foundry, we, you know, just to come together to look at what's your vision for Waupaca? What's down the road in the future? I don't know, you're right, we're two totally different entities. All of us are different entities, but we all have the same goal of creating the best community that we can and educating our young people to go forth and stay in this community. I think that would be awesome. And unfortunately, that's not the case. Many of our young people go on to college and don't come back to Waupaca. So hence our declining enrollment. But we do have a lot of income too. So whatever, I'm just wrong.
Betty, some people do come back here.
Well, I think we need
Right,
to
Steve?
figure out if it's our linkage meeting or their linkage
Or
meeting.
we all just come together as, it doesn't matter whose linkage meeting it is, but we come together in goodwill as community members and say, hey, we're all working together.
Well, I understand that, but someone has to set the agenda.
Right, okay. Well, maybe
And that's-
some person from each group comes together and together an agenda, so, whatever. I'm just gonna be
Can I meet with Henry and see if we can come up with some, is that, okay?
It's up to you.
And would it need to be the full board? Can we just meet with who's ever
Send
interested?
Send Dave.
No, I'm
I-
thinking
I
there's,
think-
you know, half of us are kind of interested in it and half aren't, so, you know, I don't know that everybody has to be there.
Well, as with any meeting, some can attend, some can't.
I don't think it's that half hour and half hour. I just, in my own mind, it's not that I'm not, it's just that I need, personally, I need a little more definition of what the goal is and what the objective is. And I didn't get that from that agenda. It was, they'll present basically what I can get from going to their meeting, and they can do the same coming to our meeting. So if we have a little more structure as to what it is, otherwise you just pull all these people into a room together and yeah, we'll say hello and have some coffee, and if that's the objective, then we can do that. But I just didn't get that from the agenda. That was thrown out there as to what the real objective was. Okay, you want something other than coffee, I can tell.
I don't want
Food?
So, did you get direction?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, we'll come back. Preliminary election results. Congratulations to the winners.
Who won?
We're not sure yet.
There was one
Yeah.
clear winner, the top vote getter, it was 1,653, 1,637, and 1,631 with 20 write-ins. I got, I do have to congratulate you, Pat, because you were one of the write-ins.
My wife,
So-
my
so-
wife.
That could be
No,
either
it's
good or
that sign
bad.
you left out there from last year.
Somebody really wants you on there, that same person might not know that you already are.
Probably.
So with the new rules of the election, there's the ability for someone to take out a absentee ballot, and then they get, I believe, 2 weeks after the election date to return that absentee ballot. So we have a couple out there that have not been returned yet, so we cannot certify the numbers until the deadline, either the deadline comes or the ballots are turned in. So once that happens, then we can do our swearing in or the administering the oath. Now, just a reminder, the oath does not have to take place at a board meeting. The oath can take place in our office out there, as long as you're in front of a notary, yes. So
I
that's.
notarized my own.
Probably not. But that's how it can be done. And the reason I say that is because I think shortly we're going to be talking about the organizational meeting. And there's only one date, that if you do it on the 27th, which is that Monday of April, it's far enough past the deadline and it's prior to the person taking office. So there's that one window that you can do everything on that one day. But wait till 28th. If we have an organizational meeting on the 28th, then we can't, we have to swear in the people before that individually, or call a special meeting.
And can we do that anyway? Just come in and call
Yes.
Carol, see if she's available?
Yes. So, we'll talk about that when we get to the organizational, setting the organizational date.
I realize it's some sort of regulatory thing, but if there are only like 2 ballots left out there,
I know.
are they gonna swing these numbers dramatically and mean that someone can't take the oath?
And the issue is, as I talked with Steve, the issue is certifying the election results. And they can't be certified until, you can't be sworn in until they're certified, they can't be certified until they're turned.
They're all. That law was put into place, I think, in the 1880s.
Well, I think it's new. We've never had this before. It's within the last couple of years.
And
Yes?
I believe that we had to wait until Monday for the additional ballots to come in, and I believe I'm not exactly sure, you'd have to check with Carol, but I think we got all the ballots, but we had to wait a couple of days past that for some reason. I don't exactly know what it was, but we probably can swear in at the organizational meeting, I would think, if we didn't need to do it before that.
Well, we could if we had the organizational meeting on the 27th. If we wait,
Right.
if we do it on the 28th, it's too late to swear them in. They have to be sworn in
Okay.
before that. So that's the, yeah. But you say all the ballots are in?
I believe they are, yes.
Okay.
That was what we met on Monday in the afternoon, and I believe they had to all be in at 4 p.m. on Monday.
Okay. School visits.
School visits.
Well, I'll start. I went to last month, it was quite a while ago now. It was after the last meeting, but it was the same week, and I went to the WLC for correct me, John, if the family readathon?
Family reading night.
Family reading night, thank you. And read to some of the children. It was fun. It was actually a nice turnout. I talked to John a little bit. He seemed to think there was a real good crowd that night.
There was. We put, for the first time, we added the title family night in with the family reading night, so I think our numbers went up a little bit.
Yeah, it was great, and I saw a lot of, and I know Betty was there too, and I saw a lot of my ex-students now who are parents, because a lot of them have young children, I don't see them very often, but I saw them over there, and that was kind of fun. A lot of them came in, so it was a great night, great fun.
Well, I too went to that. It was actually my school to visit this month. And spent some time talking to some of the teachers that were there. And the book sale that was going on was really good. It was good to see all the different kinds of books, and all the kids excited about it. They had crafts going on at the gym, in the gym, where the kids could make things. They could decorate book bags, they could make bookmarks, they could do all sorts of things. Dinner was provided. It was a great night. It was really excited to see children excited about reading and their parents excited about reading. So that was good. I also went to the weather emergency disaster tabletop experience, I guess you'd call it, last week, that I thought was excellent. It was, I don't know, from 9 to noon or 9 to 11:30. And some of the things that came out of it I think were wonderful. It made us aware of things that we can do better, but in my mind, it clarified and confirmed the things that we're really, really doing well. And the personnel that came to put on that day, it was encouraging to see how impressed they were with the awesome system that we already have in place for meeting weather alerts and after-school issues and during-school issues and what would actually happen in disastrous situations where weather is involved, and not necessarily weather. So it was very informative. I learned a lot, and it confirmed a lot that we're doing things really well.
I thought it was excellent too, and the only soft spot I thought we had was our football coach. We need to give him a telephone.
A cell phone.
Cell phone.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But I don't think that's gonna ever
Well,
happen.
the good news, if it's not him, someone else has a
Yeah,
cell phone.
yeah.
Well, and the reality is, any of the coaches are not necessarily gonna have their phones hanging around their neck
Right.
during a game,
Or
waiting for an
practice.
alert.
Right, or practice.
Or being
You know.
able to hear it.
And that's what they were kind of getting at was, do you have it right there for a notification? And while they may say, yes, I have it with me, it's probably in a duffel bag or someplace and not immediately on their person with the volume way up.
You know,
So,
one thing that did come to mind that I never asked is for tornado alerts and warnings and things. I know the siren goes off here in town. Can you hear it out there? No?
Sure you can.
Can you?
Probably at the high school you can,
Uh-huh.
certainly not township-wide or.
Okay, but out
The
at
chain wouldn't.
but out at the football field or the soccer field or whatever, you'd be able to hear it?
I think there's a siren at the Veterans Home, isn't there?
Yeah.
That works towards our direction.
Is there? Okay.
Mhm.
I'm not sure, but I think there is one.
Where are the sirens in town? There's one downtown,
Fire station, isn't it?
but I think there's a couple others.
Yeah, there's one over behind the antenna that they use for, behind Kmart up there.
Yeah, yeah.
There's one up there, I'm not quite sure if it's on the building or on the antenna.
And I'll bet you there's one at the sheriff's office.
But I think even more important than that warning though is the code red that people have on their phones and the other ways you can notify that we don't have to wait to hear that warning, that there are other ways to hear that.
actually, after that meeting, I went into their site and signed up for that.
Did you get it?
No.
No.
I didn't realize that existed, but I agree with you, Betty. I think the real takeaway was, while we may think we're just kind of doing what we should be doing, which is truly the case, but the impression that was left was that we are well ahead of where most districts are. And so from that standpoint, my compliments to everybody involved with it.
And that the money that we spent 2 years ago in security cameras and updating all of our security, all of our policies for emergencies, paid off because they're in place and they're ready to roll. And fortunately, we
And
have.
it is still paying off.
Right,
And it's
right.
for a long time.
So it was money well spent. And I know that was a lot of money and, we kind of had, not issues at the time, but we really thought about were we spending money as wisely as we could. And it confirmed to me that we really did. And I hope we never need to use it, but it's there in place.
I thought it was interesting that the person putting on the exercise had, but was at one point, I mean, his job is create a situation in which you're tricked, or that you don't have an answer to, so that, what did you think about this, think about that? And no matter what he threw out there, we had a pretty good solution for it. And his comment at the very end to me was, if I had kids in school, this is right where I'd want them, to know that they're as safe as they can be. And
The thing that scared me about the whole thing was that darn tree
Coming into the
In
schools.
the video?
coming into the
Oh.
video. I mean, I thought, oh geez. And and after you watch that, you think, you start thinking about your schools. And
How vulnerable the kids are.
yeah, at least we don't have a lot of big trees, Nick.
Well, last year I was at the Learning Center and there was a storm going on and trees fell down in the parking lot.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
On a car,
Yeah.
I remember they
Yeah.
came to us, wanted it.
But the schools, like
But I want to say too, it was really interesting because the facilitator, who does this all the time, would mention something, the code read, whatever it was. Oh, you already do that? Dave said, oh yeah, I already do that. Well, a good idea is a weather radio. Carl, well, yeah, we have one of those. Well, yeah, we're always talking and, and before, and he's kind of like, oh, wow, for such a small district, yeah. I think he was quite impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks for all you guys do with that piece of it, yeah, which we don't really even think about.
well, with that, to me, what was more impressive than that was the response of the custodians, the coaches, the bus drivers. They take their job serious when it comes to student safety, and that was very evident. They weren't afraid to speak up or to say exactly what they do, but they knew their job in that aspect. I was very impressed with that.
Well, it was like the one individual from your staff that said, just get them to my bus, I know what to do.
That's right, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How many miles of cable did they run in high school so that the telephones, all those things?
I remember the
Oh.
feet, but it was, you saw those big rolls.
Oh,
there.
yeah. And, that gives us the opportunity to have what we do have, and we're very fortunate. It's for a good cause, kids.
I don't know if,
I lost my
do you want to just take a second to watch a video of a tornado hitting the school? This is
See if
the-
that CBS News, is this something you downloaded?
This is the Joplin.
Oh, Joplin, Missouri.
Tornado, these are the cameras from inside the
Can
building.
we turn the lights off?
Could you at least do one of the inside? There's no sound because they're the school cameras.
Was the building occupied? It just empty? I saw 540 there.
This is Sunday, isn't it?
They talk about kids lining up in the hallways, but holy smokes, that's. Here's the commons.
this late 20s.
How is it the camera's working?
This is probably what we would get if we had something like that. We'd probably be able to do this after the fact.
Because of our cameras.
Yeah.
Assuming you can recover the equipment
Yeah,
to do
that
it.
you can,
Right. The building's still there.
well, the camera's in place to take it.
They're not much good if you're under one of those.
That was one I was hoping you'd show rather than the introduction to that movie, which was staged with a tree coming through
Yeah.
the door. This is real.
Oh. School calendar
Okay,
adjustment?
school calendar adjustments. This is what I sent to you. We've lost one day of inclement weather this year. The student hour requirement will be met without making up the one day, without the students making up the day. Therefore, it's our recommendation, administration's recommending, we add one lost day to the 2015-16 school year to be utilized as a teacher in-service day. So how that would look, the current, we structure it in such a way that the calendar doesn't begin any earlier than it did before. The current calendar for next year is scheduled to start August 25th and 26th with late afternoon, evening hours scheduled by the school building. Then Thursday, August 27th is a full day of orientation. Friday, August 28th and Monday, August 31st are the floating work days where teachers put in 7.5 hours on either of those days or a combination of those days. Then Tuesday, September 1 is scheduled as the first full day with students. What we're proposing is that the Tuesday, Wednesday, late afternoon, evening stays the same. Thursday, August 27th, full day of orientation, that stays the same. The change is here that Friday, August 28th becomes a full in-service day, and then Monday, August 31st is the full work day for staff. So instead of having a floating work day, part Friday, part Monday, or either one of those days, we're suggesting to go with a full day on Friday in service and a full day on Monday then as the work day, getting ready for start of school on Tuesday, September 1st. Administrators, did I capture that correctly? That's what we talked about. Okay. So again, it'd be similar to last year where we transferred those days from one calendar year to the next. Yeah, and I know Betty talked to me about, and that we all feel the same way, that we're not trying to punish people by making them make up that day or stick it to them. I think there's a real advantage, and teachers would probably see that as well, that for them to get together and work on things like educator effectiveness or curriculum, whatever we have to work on, they would find beneficial as well. We would rather do that together than enter the year without having that day and having to create that time on their own. So it'd be one thing to waive that day, and I'd be fine with that too. But I do think it's advantage to the district as well as to the staff to come in that full day, Friday at the end of August.
Is that your idea for the day, is the educator awareness?
We talk about a number of different things. Educator effectiveness is a part of it. Ready curriculum is certainly another part of it. But it would be designed for what they need and what the school needs. It wouldn't. It's not like some years where I have to sit down and say, okay, what are we going to have them do? We got them for 7.5 hours. What are we going to do? That wouldn't be the case. They have things that need to get done as well as principals and buildings.
Well, there might be some clarity on the testing for next year too at that time, which may.
It would certainly be a good
talked
time
about.
to regroup and talk about that as well.
Yeah.
And
What's in
that's-
and what's out.
And that's what led me to ask you about that, because
Right.
I know they have gone above and beyond with all that's been required for the Badger testing and how much of their own time that they've taken, and they've spent weekends there and preparing their classes and whatever. And I just hope they know that it doesn't go unnoticed, that we realize that this year they've put in so much extra time doing things that we're all kind of questioning having to be done. So I hope down the road we have an opportunity to compensate them for a job really well done, because they've all worked hard.
So are you looking for a motion? I'll make a motion that the proposed snow day for 14-15 year be made up at the beginning of the school year, starting in the fall of 2015.
Second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Takes us to the policy committee. And what I thought, at your place, you should have a policy committee meeting minutes, and then attached to that, the policy committee motions. The minutes reflect simply, of course, what time we met and who was in attendance, but to summarize all of our discussion is number 3. All of the items in the attached agenda were discussed, resulting in some changes, some deletions, and others that were discussed only. The attached motions derived from this meeting reflect the action taken by the committee. Any revisions that are a result of committee action are incorporated in the attachments. I have handed out the attachments to you. Yes. Does everybody, did you get those? Starts with a recognition schedule? Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So those are the results of your discussions last night. And of course, all this happened really quickly today, so they do have to be reviewed. I looked at them, of course, and thought that they look fine. But we have good notes from what your discussion was last night, but I think we're in good shape that way.
Would you like to take each one individually to vote on?
I don't think so. That's why I put the second page says the policy committee motions, and there are really 3 motions there. And since this is a committee recommendation, it would be Kirsten who would make those motions, no second is needed, and then there would just be a vote. So the first motion then would be to delete the following administrative policies, 141 and 671.3. I'm sorry, 141, 141.1, and 671.3 R2. The first 2 because they're duplicated in the policy governance manual, and the last one because that's a union dues deduction, which is no longer in play. So Kirsten, is that your understanding of that motion?
Yes.
Okay.
So moved.
So we need a vote.
Go ahead.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed?
The second one then is to revise the following administrative policies as per the attached, and you have the attachment, the recognition schedule, changes it from recognizing individual employees to donating money for scholarships, and then thank you note shall be sent to all staff informing them of the donation on their behalf and extending the board's appreciation for their work. The second one, organizational chart. Just going to, this is what they look like, starting with one for the district administrator and all the reports to that position.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, but was this one where you said that really the only change was what the technology person
That's
would
correct.
now report to?
The technicians report to director of technology, or yes, technology director. So those are people reporting to me. The second one then are people reporting to the business manager. and then to the supervisors. So that these then take those people who report to me and pull out the reports to them. Director of Special Education, therapists, psychologists, office staff, et cetera. The high school principal and athletic director, these are the reports to Carl. Chain Elementary School principal and director of instruction. Learning Center Elementary School principal. Waupaca High School principal would be Mr. Becker's position. Middle school principal. This would be the technology director, computer technicians, and then the summer workers who work for the computer technicians. And the school nurse. Nurses, we have 2 of them. So none of that has changed, it's just reflected in a different manner, except for the computer technology people. So that's that one. The grading system at the high school, you see that one in your packet. I think we captured all the items there in terms of the pass, fail, and those courses. Give you some time to take a look at it. Of course, the big one is the graduation requirements, adding credits for math and science, and upping the overall credit requirement by 1.5 credits from 22.5 to 24. Middle school students enrolling in high school courses, that just changed their credit requirement as well, or reference to the credit requirement necessary at the high school. Professional staff, support staff recruiting and hiring is the use of "we can" for that purpose. Payday schedules, incorporating the current existing schedule into policy. Reimbursement of employee expenses, payment of expenses, increasing the lunch from $8 to $10, and the dinner reimbursement from 12 to 15. And then payroll deductions and allocations, changing the word from reductions to allocations, and associated changes with that. And then finally, and that's the second motion. So is that okay by you, Kirsten, as a motion?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, that's fine, Dave, thank you for reading that.
okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
And then the third would be to revise the position description. We talked about the media coordinator and all that difference there. Library media coordinator is the license requirement that changed from the DPI. So that would be the third motion from the committee.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay. Kirsten, you want to make any comments on other business we did or not, or we discussed at the meeting?
Not right off the top of my
Yeah.
head, I don't have my notes in front of me,
Okay.
but.
The email?
We talked about email. We talked to Julie today, and she's in the process of assigning emails.
Very good.
And we are going to use the first letter, last name, just like we do for all other employees. Student email have a different convention, they call it. So if there's, so yours will be the same as all other staff. First letter of your first name followed by your last name. And Pat, in your case, it'll just be simply restoring your previous email account. So that's taking place. We talked about the, I just want to mention that the records, what's the technical term? The
Retention.
data directory.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what's data directory, how we define that. We're going to put together a policy, we did not take any action on that last night. Going to put together a policy narrowing what we define as directory data and who that directory data gets released to. So we'll be seeing a follow-up on that. Talked a little bit about the transportation and students, student vehicles, family vehicles, and we've got some work to do on that one as well. Probably not going to go to the extreme, but we'll be somewhere in the middle there, and we'll have a longer discussion when that gets brought out.
Will those be sent to?
The handbooks will be forwarded to the
Good,
personnel committee.
good, yes. We've got some work to do on handbooks and updating those as well. That information will go, or that request for change will go to the personnel committee because even though they're considered policy right now, some of the information in there is considered personnel related. So we'll be forwarding that.
Did those changes that you had suggested, the writing with parents, et cetera, are you anticipating that to be sent back to committee for first look at and then back here, or would we do that here?
Well, they'll go to committee.
They'll go to committee.
Yes,
so
they'll
that-
go to committee first.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, I think that's it from the policy.
Thank you, Dave.
You're welcome, Chris.
Administrator?
Future dates, there is a open house, I hear, tomorrow at the high school in the LIFT program. You'll hear more about that in just a few minutes. Davison Kilthau Public Officials Program, April 29th in Kimberly. We have and have not gone to that in the past. If anyone is interested in going, let me know.
Can I just say something about, ask you a question? I was kind of interested, but has anybody gone to that in the past? That's here? Is it worth going to? That's the only question I'm asking. I don't know anything about it.
We've gone in the past, and every year it's gotten a little worse.
Okay.
Food is really good now.
Okay, I just thought, I just happened to think about it. I know it's in the evening, and I know it's just a one-day deal kind of, but I didn't know if there was any
Sometimes
reason.
it depends on what they're doing.
Yeah, what
Yeah,
the
okay.
agenda is.
All right,
It's
well,
a
I'll
Wednesday.
think about it.
It's a Wednesday, so.
But I'm glad I asked.
You know, that was
I don't
kind
know why
of
it's
strange.
Wednesday, yeah.
If you go to the, your board,
Yeah, I saw something that was put up there, but
the agenda is
sometimes,
there with the date. and
even the
times.
agenda, sometimes it doesn't really give you the flavor of,
Correct.
you know, whether
But
it's
Steve had asked the question about what time it started. And
like 6
Is it
o'clock.
3:45?
5:30.
Oh.
5:30 for sign-in probably.
It doesn't give the,
Oh,
Program at 7.
it doesn't give what, oh, yeah, it does. Supreme Court, actor.
Pat, you probably recognize a lot of this stuff as things
Yeah,
you've seen
I
from the
see.
WSB
Right.
presentations.
Exactly.
5:30 to 8:30.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, I think we've gotten more out of having Mr. Macy and someone else come over and just do a little more personalized interaction with us than these types of things.
I know he said he'd be interested in doing that again, so we'll do that.
I think that would be great.
Yeah, Bob Bracken is always
Bill?
interested. Bill.
Bill.
Yes.
Okay. Then, our May 12th regular school board meeting, and then we need to set organizational meeting date and time. Again, I suggested you, we could do it the 27th in the afternoon or evening, or the 28th morning or afternoon/evening. Would work out. Does anybody have a preference?
Does Kirsten prefer evening?
Kirsten, you're preferring evening for that organizational meeting?
It is easier for me, yes.
Okay. So we're at Monday or Tuesday evening. Is there anybody can't make Monday? Because if we can do Monday, then we do the swearing in and all that stuff all at the same time.
Monday works for me.
And what time was that again? Monday at 6?
6?
Is that, yep, 6 o'clock, 6 PM on Monday the 27th.
Sounds good.
And that's right here.
I can't.
You can.
I have hold for organizational meeting at 6 p.m. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
What were the other dates that you?
The next day, AM or PM,
Okay.
28. That brings us to board monitoring. The first is the LIFT program. And Ms. Marcon, do you want to make the introduction?
Sure. This is Mary Barton from the high school, the organizer of the LIB program. This is our first year at taking revolving service for special needs students through the age of 21. But this year, we tried to make it a more specialized program, letting them know that they've accomplished their requirements for high school, but we want to continue their education through the high school until they're 21, if they wish, but focusing on more career and lifelong skills that they would be implementing throughout the community. So Mary Jo's going to share with you how we decided to implement this new program.
Yes, and may I approach the board and give you guys one? So our program is called LIFT. It's Lifelong Independent Vocational Education. And what we do is we help prepare these students who are 18 to 21-year-olds that formerly were listed as cognitive disabled. They are now considered, their new title is called intellectually disabled. So they changed the name of us. So basically what we do is we, and I couldn't stand over here, if that's okay.
That's okay.
I don't want to put anybody out.
I'm not put out.
What we do is I take these 18 to 21-year-olds and I try to get them to be part of the community and feeling very comfortable to be part of the community and a contributing member to our society. So I work a lot on life skills. I work a lot on getting employment. I have some students that work at Goodwill. I have a young man that's working at Sport and Spine. I have Lee is working with us, the school district's working with us to have some of the young men working on the bus and cleaning buses, windows, and that kind of thing. So what we're trying to do is create an environment that they can feel comfortable in and explore what the community is like. And so one of the things I also do is every week someone has to create a meal. So they have to find a recipe, they have to create a shopping list, they have to go out in the community and shop, and then on Friday they make the meal for the rest of the class. And so we work also on a lot of manners, and some of the other things we have done is we have a cafe at the high school that we opened up, and the young men enjoy doing that. So we are just looking at many opportunities. And I wanted to thank you all for let me come and talk and invite you all again that we are having an open house. One of the other big things we did was we changed my old classroom into an apartment. So then we can work on apartment skills and what it's like to take care of an apartment. So when they move on, they know what it's like to clean and do laundry and to cook and know what it's like to be in an apartment. So I have an education center further down the room, and that's when we work on how to talk to a boss, how to be on time, how to dress. We even created a dress code for our classroom. The other thing is I do not run my classroom on a bell schedule because in real life, we don't follow bells. So I make sure that everything's off schedule so then that they have to rely on time. We also teach them how to go on break, how to come off break. So everything that I do is I try to make it as realistic as real life. So, and I'm hoping all of you can come tomorrow and see. I had a young man that worked with Mr. Polovinsky and created a PowerPoint. So we have that, and you would actually get to see all my young men doing their jobs.
What time?
It starts at 3:30 until 7:15. So it's during parent-teacher conferences. So
So don't get there till 6, it's still okay?
It is, please come on in.
Right, I would just ask, kind of say it's kind of a drop-in? I mean, whenever
Yes,
you can
it's a
come.
drop-in, you're gonna get to see, like I said, a cafe going, a young man making popcorn. I have a young man that's taking classes at Fox Valley Tech and has created his own business of drawing caricatures. So we're gonna have him there. And then, I'm trying to think what else. And then we have many surprises for everyone. The boys have, the young men have made cookies, and we have bags for people. So just trying to get our word out about our program. And our ultimate goal would be to get other districts to pull into our program, is what I would like to see down the line. Am I right, Mrs. Marcon?
Mary Jo, how many students do you have?
Currently, I have 5. I had started out the first of the year with 6, and this young man moved to the Valley, but I have 5 right now. And they're all men, yes.
And they come every day?
They do, and they look forward to it. I have had many comments, and Rob, maybe you can go on this, from a lot of the staff members that they have seen these young men mature a lot from this program.
Tell them about the cafe. What exactly is the cafe?
Oh, the
It's a neat
cafe.
concept.
The cafe is, it's only allowed to the staff. So what we did was,
School, the teachers?
the teachers and the parapros and the janitors and anybody that, as the adults. So what we did was Julie Iden helped us create an order form online. So the teachers order online, and then the boys print out the order, and then we have in the room all the cafe stuff, and they make the coffee or tea, whatever it is, and then they have to deliver it. And so then they deliver it to the teachers, and sometimes the teachers have specific times that they want it, and that's okay, we make it work. And then the boys collect, one of the options is to pay right away or to put it on a bill. So then they have to fill out a voucher at the end of 2 weeks and take the bills to everyone, and then they have to count their money and deposit the money, and so we do a lot of that. Like I said, we try to make it as real life to them as we can.
And what would be items?
Oh, let's see, there's like French vanilla coffee, there's iced coffee, there's tea, we now added cold drinks, lemonade, iced tea. Those
Chai
kind of
latte is my favorite.
things. Chai latte.
A regular custom.
Yeah.
But one of the benefits we've seen, other than just having these kids working on great skills, is that they are so amongst our students and our staff. They are so visible in our school that I really think they've become so much more socially integrated this year than they ever have been. And I think everyone looks forward to seeing their smiling faces come and knock at the door and say, we've got your coffee, and enjoy. They always say enjoy,
Yeah, enjoy.
after they give the coffee to you. And usually there's a paw out money, because it does cost the staff money. We're trying to offset the costs of the program itself, and so it's $1 for a chai latte, which I think is way, way cheaper than Starbucks. But it's a great program, and I think the PR that it's done is almost as good as the skills that are being taught to these kids.
I'd like to add also that Mary Jo and her staff spent a lot of time in the community. They rang bells and collected money during
Yes,
Christmas
stationary.
time. They go out and experience what our community is all about and resources that we have here. If it's restaurants or the library or the theater or bowling, things that they can be participating in, their lifelong skills and leisure activities. And then as well as there's been a numerous amount of businesses through town who have supported the program and have embraced.
Yes, Hanson's has been astronomical for us. They donated all of our furniture and our wall hangings. They even came in and did the painting. Not that they did the painting, I should say, the color scheme. They decided the color scheme for us. So yes, they have been very, very good to us. The other thing is, thank you, Dr. Peschel, for choosing us to receive the SHOPCO grant. As on the top, you see that that's our logo, and one of the things that we were able to buy with the SHOPCO grant is we have jackets, we have shirts, we have hats, and we have aprons, and we have chef coats that all these young men, so again, I try to make it as real life of if they're in a job, this is what you wear, so, yes, Pat?
Mary Jo, the other, last night, as a matter of fact, we were talking a little bit about, in one of our policies about graduation for students of your students. And what do you, how do your students eventually graduate, if you will? Do they always wait until they're 21 years old, or how does that work?
Not always. I've had in the past one student that decided to leave the program at 19. So we have some students that do get all the credits, so they have an actual diploma. And then the other ones usually get what is called a certificate of attendance, that's what they do. So when they age out, so like I have a young man that's aging out this year, and he will actually get, what we created is a LIVE certificate, and it's a completion of the LIVE program, and that will be his diploma.
And when you say graduate, what kind of a graduation ceremony or would you usually do for them?
Well, what we have decided this in the past is now 4 years they'll go academically through the high school, and then they'll cross with their class. The thing we find out is if they receive a diploma, they're done. That's through DPI. So they just cross with their class, then they go into my program, and then that's when they get the certificate.
And did you have a special little graduation ceremony for them just for that?
We can do that.
I know you have, because I've been.
Yeah, we have done that in the past, so, and I'm sure that's what we'll do again this year, so.
So the students that's aging out actually did walk across the stage already. Not walk, but wheel in a wheelchair. You probably remember him doing that. But we try to have them do that with their age mates, the chronological age.
So do they come every day?
Yes.
So you said you tried to get them jobs, when is this after 21?
During
You
this,
get them jobs,
nope.
or-
I have them out working right now.
So
I have-
during the school day, they could go out and work?
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Mhm. That's when I have my parapros to help be job coaches.
Uh-huh.
So I have, like I said, I have a young man that goes to Sport and Spine.
Uh-huh.
I have a young man that's at Goodwill. I have, like I said, we've been working with Lee and getting some of them out to the bus garages.
So how do they get transported to their job sites?
Well, we use the taxi service for some of it because we want them to have that experience of knowing how to use the taxi.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes it's myself or my parapros. We have, Lee has certified our vehicles so that we can do that too. So yeah, we try to get that experience. Sometimes we use the busing. It just depends on if it works or not.
Mary Jo, you have 5 boys right now, but I'm sure you can look down the line. What's coming up for you in terms of students, in terms of numbers? Is it going to be fluctuate much for you, or are you always looking at kind of like between 4 and 6 or something like that?
I know this next year, it's probably gonna stay pretty much the same, like 4, something like that, right? It's gonna go down just a little bit, but then in a couple years, it'll lift again, But that's why I'm saying, that's why we would like to see other districts come pull into our program. So we've been trying to get the word out to Amherst and Manawa and Waupaca and New London.
How realistic is that?
Well, do you already have students from Iowa?
I have Iola.
Oh, you do already?
Yes,
Oh,
Iola
sorry.
students, I have 3
So it's-
Iola
it's
students
very
actually.
realistic.
Oh,
It's very,
okay.
very
Yeah.
doable.
Great.
And I have instructors have been asking me about the program.
Oh, nice.
Information about it.
Okay.
How old is the program?
It's brand new this year. We just started it in the fall.
So your Iola students then, so Iola's responsible for their transportation?
And tuition, they pay us,
Oh.
because they get state aid on those students and transfer the state aid to us.
How many?
How many?
How many from Iola do I have?
Could you?
What's your maximum capacity?
Ooh, I don't know. Well, I think we would just have to hire more parapros to help. I guess I look at it, the more the merrier, the better we can make this program. The more we can get these young people feeling comfortable in our community,
You
why
want to
not?
keep it under 30 though, right?
Okay, we'll keep it
Does
under 30.
this duplicate Waupaca County Industries or some other program that's
No.
available for these kids? So this kind of fills a gap.
Yes, this does fill the gap, because Waupaca County Industry is kind of what they had called a sheltered workshop, which they are now getting away from, so they're now called a training center, where they're supposed to go there and get training and then move out into the community. We're kind of enhancing that ahead of time. So my goal is when my students leave, they will actually have a job somewhere, you know. Or they'll create a job, like I said we did with this young man. So we created his own job.
And that's really the piece that's missing, because what Mary Jo is describing is what I do for a living.
Yes.
As a care manager for the family care program, a lot of the young people who graduate from high school then transition, they're adults, so they transition to the family care program, and some of them go to WCI. You know, and they're taught the skills, but the piece that's missing is the actual employers. And in a small community, there just really isn't much. So anything that you can do to get that going is just great. We just are so missing that. It's not that the kids don't have the skills, and they have the coaches and the ability and the motivation and, you know, the funding for the coaching and all of that. It's just, yeah, so, good. All right, Lee. Our new employer.
Another responsibility of Mary Jo's is the transition coordinator for the district. And so she also lines up jobs for students who are intellectually delayed, who are preferring to graduate and leave the district after 4 years in the district. So we provide some job opportunities for them. She's going to be teaching some specific job skills to them and give them some experiences so that when they leave, they are very, they have a really good sense of what they want to do next in life as far as employment.
And I have a young man that's working at Silver Mist right now that's going to be graduating in May. So yes, I do that. So basically, I take the intellectually disabled population, and Jen Erb has the other population that she does all the work experiences with. So that's kind of the difference between us.
And do most of the students, once they leave our program, do they stay in the community or in the communities that they came from?
Yes. Yeah, they're pretty much lifers, you know, so I see many of my former students all the time, which is awesome, you know, so, yeah.
You're probably like their second mother.
Yes, very much so, and they're like my kids. So, yes, I'm very, very excited about it, and like I said, I really hope you guys can come see, and if you cannot make it tomorrow, please feel free to stop by and see it some other time.
And where is it located?
In room 1014 at the high school.
To the left. And we were just talking about, we're all going to have emails coming up with our names, just like, you know, every staff member. So when you send out an invitation for a lunch, you can maybe with us.
Awesome. That's good.
Or
And
just-
I'd love
or
to
just
get-
copy on his tab.
Yes, yes.
It'd be great. It'd be fun. I'd love to.
Yes, yes, we would love to have you. And same with like, I know the young men have come into the cabinet meetings, right?
Yep, they do.
And have done coffee for the cabinet meetings, so.
They should do that more often.
Yeah, it was only once.
Yeah.
What did we do
So-
wrong?
What's that?
What
We were
did do wrong
earlier.
that they didn't come?
Yeah, you
I
did.
did.
Bring it up, Jeff.
We were earlier that time. That was when we brought in someone from CISA. We met at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh,
So
that was why.
8
Well,
o'clock is the
I
time.
can have them come in if you would like. They would love that.
We were at
So
9.
anytime during the day, you can stop in and get a latte?
Sure.
That's
Yeah.
Sunday of work.
Afternoon is more of a roll of the dice though, because they're
Yes.
out working that in the
Yeah, some of them
afternoon.
are out working, so, but we do have on the website, I believe, the Live Cafe order form. So, I said that order form for the Live Cafe is on the website, so.
There you go.
Yeah,
Stop right there.
all right. Any more questions or anything?
Will they be open for business tomorrow night?
Yes, they will be open for business. So, yes.
Very nice, thank you.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Rome, you have 2 minutes.
Since I've been in the district, my 11th year, discussion has always been surrounding, why we have different mascots at different levels. And when I went over to the middle school, the talk even got more. I know Mr. Ersbaumer had the same kind of discussions at the elementary school as well. And we had started kind of doing some things, Waupaca way, with our PBIS program, and doing trying to get some common themes going across the district. And it kind of came to the point where we needed to figure out, what do we really want? What do we need to do? Dr. Peschel asked, for me to kind of ask the constituency, started by surveying our staff. Then I surveyed the parents. And did staff throughout the district, did parents at the middle school and elementary levels. Then we did community through the paper and had a survey through there, and also asked the students. And I believe you have the results in front of you. Overwhelmingly, staff 95%, parents 96% want us to be comments. The community, out of 38 respondents, 70 is 4%, and the students are 74%. About 200 students put their 2 cents in as well, wanting to be comments across the board. I think it makes sense. A lot of the parents' comments were, I don't need to purchase several different things. I can use hand-me-downs. One of the concerns was they'll do hand-me-downs for jerseys for the middle school, and the coaches were like, that'd be great. Every new jersey every 3 years, because every 10 years is perfect. So, some of the old concerns kind of have been dealt with. The rationale, 41 years ago, the middle school was left behind by the high school moving out. And in order for them to have a new identity, they created, from the leftovers, they wanted to do something new. They chose the Panthers and purple and white back then. And since then, moving to do two different buildings since then, I think it's time we have, why this year kind of made more sense than before, our gym floor needs to be redone. It's not a cheap thing, but it happens once every 10, 12 years whenever the purple turns to gray, because there's enough layers of shellac over the top of everything else. And so this is a time when our gym floor is to be redone, and if we're going to do it, we may as well discuss, should we be the Panthers still, or should we transition to the Comets? From the surveys that I conducted, it seems that the vast majority want us to all be Comets.
So what will that look like?
So what we would do, middle school wise, would be just transitioning as things wear out or as things need to change. So our gym floor would have a couple of comments on it.
Same logo as the high school.
Same logo as the high school. It's a nice logo. Seems to work. We would change our letterhead. We have PBIS posters up that say, a few of them say the Panther Way. We get patches for that. That would say Waupaca Way. And we do that at the elementary school as well. Some of our staff shirts, we would do comments on those. As jerseys need replacing, we would replace them with navy blue and white instead of the purple and white. And several of our jerseys are often quite dated at this point already, so they'll be needing to be updated soon.
But the transition will take place as necessary.
As necessary.
It won't be
It's not going to be
all at once.
Right.
It's going to be transitioned over.
Are there walls?
Pardon me?
Are there walls?
Well, we have walls all around us.
No, but I mean, are there purple walls that need to be painted?
We talked about that as possibilities, and they're still nice walls. Some of the Panthers that are painted on the walls, We have a summer school music or mural program. They'll paint something new over the top of that.
So what will the elementary mascot look like?
For the elementary, just to go back to the survey, I think there was 8 of the people that, the adults that were surveyed at the elementary, I think 8 were against it, everybody else were for it. The mascot would be the same. It was important to the people at the elementary to keep our mascot. It's good for the kids. The jersey on the t-shirt that the raccoon wears would be Comet Blue with the Comet logo on it. The students were actually a year ahead. We had a naming contest last year for the mascot, and the kids chose Comet, so it was kind of fitting. So same as Ben, it'll be a slow transition. When we need to order new things or make some changes, we'll do that as time goes on. Our letterhead is done electronically, so it's changing the color on the font, on the letters electronically. So that's not going to be a big issue for us. But we'll use what we have now that says the Rascal Way. That's the biggest transition piece at the elementary, is moving from the Rascal Way to the Waupaca Way, and that'll take a year or two, and I would imagine we'll be through that. So it'll be a slow transition, but something that probably won't be that noticeable.
So is there confusion to have 2 mascots, a Comet and a Rascal?
No, I think, like I said, the T-shirt will have the Waupaca logo on it, but it was important for the elementary people to have to still have the raccoon. It's a cute thing for the kids, and the kids identify with it, and they call him Comet, and I think it's just it's good for the elementary age level.
So there is no Rascal anymore?
No,
No.
no,
It's,
it's Comet.
There's just a whole bunch
It's
of
a
rascals.
raccoon.
But he's
it's a
called
raccoon,
Comet.
right,
Yeah.
but it's.
So
we
what
won't
about
hear
the
the-
panther? Is there a panther called Comet? No.
No, he'll disappear.
So the panther will go away.
The answer will be
And it'll be a
the
Comet.
historical.
On the endangered species.
Buried.
But it's so cute, Beth.
And in that spirit, Ben, you might want to keep some of it just for history.
Well, we do have the Panther costume, and maybe the Panther costume will come up during some of the games.
Not even a panther.
The panther could wear something Comet-ish.
And put a Comet t-shirt on.
Yeah.
So there are those things that could be crossovers as well. I don't know how long that thing has been around or how long it will still last, but we watch it every year.
Well, it's time for consent agenda.
Well, the board needs to act on this. I think they've done their homework. They did the surveys, they asked the right people. I was surprised at the overwhelming response. I wasn't surprised at the passion that came through in the written responses from both sides. And I knew that was out there, but percentage-wise, the numbers, I was quite surprised that it was that evident.
I'm interested to know if the high school students are aware of this discussion and if they're reacting to it.
I would think they only would be if their brothers and sisters were at the middle school or the elementary. I haven't heard any students talk about, now they're going to be the Comets too. I think, we're proud to be Comets, and speaking for the students, I think they're proud to be Comets also, and the more Comets there are, the better. We're happy to have the middle school and the elementary joining us.
It's great.
So are we looking for a motion to the effect on that?
To transition according to the master plan spelled
Okay,
out.
I'll make a motion then that the Waupaca school mascot for the middle school and the elementary be changed over to Comet appropriately in their buildings, similar to the high school.
Is there a second?
Second.
And you anticipate this taking 2 years, 3 years? Any thoughts as to?
I think, initially, like I said, we'll do some signage stuff. We'll do our gym floor. We'll have letterhead change, maybe some staff shirts. Our agendas will show the Comet stuff in there. I think other things, as they wear out, they'll be replaced. As things need to be painted, they'll be painted over.
I would guess in 2 to 3 years.
2 to 3 years, most of the stuff will be done.
Can I ask a question? Rhonda, the chain, how will this affect the chain?
Not much at all. We don't do much rascal stuff because we're not really into the PBIS where they talk about the Rascal Way. So we just, all I could think of today was the old flag that we carry in the homecoming parade. And then there's some of our letterhead that has a raccoon on. But we already had chain elementary school t-shirts that were Comet Blue, and I think they pretty much think they're Comets already. So.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Betty. I missed seeing her through there, so.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Brain blocker.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
did the second?
Stephen Johnson did the second.
Roll call vote.
Just do it. Did it say roll call?
That's what it says. That's what you suggested.
Does Carl have to start working the comment thing now too?
Carl, yes. Let's see, Connie Baldwin.
Yes.
This is a roll call. Stephen Johnson.
Yes.
Kirsten Greenfield.
Yes.
Sandy Robinson.
Yes.
Patrick Fair.
Yes.
And Betty Mannion.
Yes.
Stephen Shambo.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm excited about that.
I think it makes sense.
I often wondered where the Rascals came from in the first place. But
I can give you a number to call. You can have that.
never mind. Consent agenda. Is there a motion? Move to approve.
Second?
Roll call vote.
Okay, Betty Mannion.
Yes.
Patrick Fair.
Aye.
Sandy Robinson.
Yes.
Kirsten Greenfield.
Yes.
Stephen Johnson. Connie Baldwin. And Sue Jambo.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Motion to adjourn.
Should be noted that 5 minutes late.
I was gonna put that, bring that up.
A little over 6.
The master plan.
Yes.
Yeah, I will.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Kirsten, thanks for your time. Appreciate it tonight.
I will thank you very much.